hope you're ready. This is going to be exciting.
Here we go, car starts up to go. Green flag is out and we're underway.
Just a few laps into this. Oh, the 37's getting loose. Oh, and he saves it. Oh, they're going 3 wide.
We've got a 5-way fight for the win of this race coming to 4 laps to go. Spectacular fashion.
It's Friday night, and that means one thing. It's time for the Goat Locker Racing SAVE22 Truck Series. And with a little bit more on the line tonight, as we have our first of 2 Dash for Cash races here live on VSPEED. Glad to be back in the booth tonight after an exciting weekend with some of the Goat Locker family up at the Sim Gaming Expo in Chicago last week. I'm your host, Logan Threlkeld, alongside with Daniel Cunningham up here in the booth, Lucas Lyons running the production truck, with cameras provided by the legendary Dougie Beard. And of course, a big shout out to our race controller tonight, Jamie Libke, up there in that very thankless role here, but looking to make it nice and easy on the night. Daniel, it's only week 3 here at Nashville Superspeedway, but we have the first Dash for Cash race on our hands. Would you care to break down what that means for the fans and let us know, what you might expect from these drivers tonight that are competing for this position?
Yeah, Logan. So basically, for those watching at home, our Dash for Cash, typically it's the top 5 finishers from the previous race. Last week's winner of Mark Whitley actually not able to be here this evening, so it's the 2nd through 6th place drivers from last week that are all here. And that's Jeremy Gardner, Jake Ellingson, Craig Bontrager, Jamie Barkis, and Timothy Peters, all competing for that prize of $60 to the highest finishing driver out of the 5 of them. And one of those drivers, Jeremy Gardner, actually won here at Nashville Superspeedway last season, so might make him the prohibitive favorite as we get rolling here this evening.
It very well could, and see if lightning can strike twice here. But only time will tell, as we are about halfway through our qualifying effort, sitting with some of these drivers in this Dash for Cash mixed up through the field, not showing the same speed that they saw last week. So things are going to be a little bit different here today. As these drivers will round out their qualifying effort, let's take a quick moment, send it to... We do have a national anthem, correct? Apologize, we do not have the national anthem here tonight, but we can take a look at the schedule at least. See where we're standing at. Week 3, Nashville Superspeedway Dash for Cash, race number 1. Race number 2 will be held there at the end of October at North Wilkesboro. Next week, we'll take this crew over to Kansas, followed up with Dover, Rockingham, and Watkins Glen for the first half of the schedule. The last 3 races of the regular season falling as Darlington, North Wilkesboro, and Michigan. Then we've got our first race of the round of 12 at Texas, race number 2 at Richmond. The round of 8 starts out with Bristol, then down to Miami Homestead. Last but not least, our championship will be decided at Phoenix International Raceway. I like that pick there with the last race at Phoenix. It really shakes things up. It is very much a driver's track. What do you think about the schedule here, Daniel?
Yeah, definitely some variety as we go through the playoffs. You see that the cutoff race for the round of 12 and the opening race for the round of 8, both at short tracks. That's going to be interesting back-to-back weeks. And then, as you mentioned, things can get a little bit wild at Phoenix as well, with all the different lines you can take through that dog leg, the different things that drivers can do to try to make some moves there. As for this week, though, here at Nashville Superspeedway, let's take a quick look at our track map. Let everybody know about this racetrack. It is located in Lebanon, Tennessee, just outside of Nashville itself. 1.33 miles long, so not quite a traditional super speedway. Has those 14 degrees of banking in the turns, 9 degrees in the front stretch. That tri-oval shape like some of the other, Vegas, Kansas type of racetracks. Opened on January 1st of 2001, and this track has been a staple in Goat Locker over the years.
And it is a very fun track to visit in person as well. Just a few weeks ago, spent some time down there in Nashville with VSPEED's very own Bradley Cooper for race weekend. That was an absolute blast. But it looks like we're about ready to get into our grid. These drivers are ready to go. And Daniel sitting on our pole position, the winner of the Jam Printing and Promotions Pole Award this week goes to the 66 of Jamie Mullins. And since forming in 2013, Jam has contributed printing and promotional sponsorships to more than 60 local nonprofits, with a primary focus on organizations that assist veterans, women, and children. They have been with Goat Locker Racing since the very beginning. Local and veteran certified. When they do well, they do good in the community. And starting on the outside row will be the 07 of Patrick Drabick, always repping that Jam Printing and Promotion truck. They're just in P2, narrowly being beat out by Mullins. Row 2 will be Jacob Ellingson in the 27 next to the 24 of Levi McCarty. In the 5th spot, we have the 15 of Jamie Barkas next to the 3 of Michael Kostick in 6th. 7th place belongs to the 49 of Craig Bontrager, with the 8th place going to the 8 of Regis Clark. In the last row of the top 10, in 9th, it's the 42 of Jeremy Gardner next to the 7 of Charles Abert.
Starting just outside our top 10, we've got George Jewell in that number 11 spot. Daniel Parks in the 71, starting in 12th. Rolling off in 13th, it's going to be Eldon Stewart with James Kaufman to his outside in 14th. Starting in 15th, Logan Sturgeon in that 26 truck. And Timothy Peters, one of our Dash for Cash drivers back there, in 16th position. Starting in 17th, going to be Mike Browning with Rob Kubat in 18th. 19th, going to be Chuck Pegleg Feltz. Warren Clayton starting in 20th. Rounding out our field this evening without registering a time, it's going to be Stephen McDonald in 21st and Brandon Wallace in 22nd.
So a short field here tonight. Of course, last week's race winner, Mark Whitley, not in the field here tonight, so it opens up the door for a couple new drivers to might be able to make their way up to the podium. But keep in mind, our Dash for Cash drivers, they do not have to win this race by any means. It's just the highest finisher. Keep an eye on Jeremy Gardner, Ellingson, Craig Bontrager, Jamie Barkas, Timothy Peters. Is Jamie Mullins is going to lead us to the green flag for the first time tonight. We're starting lap 1 of 100.
As you can see, coming off of turn 2, Patrick Drabick up there on the outside, Jamie Mullins on the inside. Thought for a second that Mullins might have them cleared as they went through 1 and 2, but Patrick Drabick able to carry a lot of momentum up on that high line. They're still going to be side by side coming to the start-finish line. Is a little bit further back. James Kaufman through the grass, but is able to get it rolling back in the right direction. Going to stay green here, and that was a very nice save out of the 25.
That it was. But back up at the front, Drabick has control of the lead. Levi McCarty looks to the inside as they enter down into turn 3. Drabick closes that door. The gap was never quite there. McCarty didn't quite have the speed to make the challenge. The pole setter of the night, Jamie Mullins, has fallen back to third. Looking at about a 0.2 second gap to Levi McCarty. Just ahead, separated by the same distance to Patrick Drabick. Already starting to get single filed out through the field.
You can see Michael Kostick has slid up into that 5th position. Got Jamie Barkas there right behind him. Running a little bit different paint scheme here this evening, something we'll talk about as we go throughout the evening. Regis Clark right there behind him in that 7th position. Tell you what, the front of both of those two trucks look a little bit mean right now. Got the teeth on the front of them. Like those paint schemes both of those guys are running here this evening. But yeah, talking about that paint scheme of Jamie Barkas, he actually he had let me know earlier that there's a different significance to that paint scheme that he is running here this evening. That truck is actually based off of a T34C Turbo Dog belonging to the VFA 122 Flying Eagles out of Naval Air Station Lemoore. They served as the primary flight trainer for student naval aviators for nearly 40 years. There's 16 of them left today. Primary mission now is providing incentive flights to encourage ROTC candidates and midshipmen to pursue naval aviation as a career path. And those 16 aircraft fly more than 2,000 students over a 3-month period. So definitely a cool little tribute that he's got going there, as far as that paint scheme and a nice connection that he's got with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Love to see a story behind the paint schemes, and highlighting that is it's one of the favorite things to do up here in the booth. Give them that moment of recognition for the hard work.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we were talking about that, just in front of Jamie Barkas, a pass for the 4th position, Michael Kostick in that number 3 Jack Daniels McLaren truck. Another good-looking paint scheme out there. Shout out to the person that painted that one. Good-looking scheme there up in the number 4 position. Our producer, Lucas Lyons, just pointed out that I was the one that painted that, so that was the joke for him behind the scenes there. So glad that he picked up on that one, but put Kostick up into the number 4 position here. Really strong run for him early on.
Yeah, a good start is going to be important here. Getting that clean air like Patrick Drabick is having right now is certainly going to help out in the long run. One thing we didn't quite get to mention, the fuel run expected tonight, anywhere from 57 laps to 62 laps in that area. We got a 45-mile-an-hour pit road speed. 3 tire sets available, 2 green-white checkers if needed. That 100% fuel load will see about that 60-lap mark. So we could potentially see some of these drivers try to play that long game, going in around lap 40 to 45, really try to flip the script. But it's really going to come down to the tire wear, the fall-off that these drivers will experience, if it's going to be worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like they're about 0.3 of a second as of right now off of their fast lap. A little bit further back in the field, that is Mike Browning and Rob Kubat battling for position. Browning able to complete that pass. Of course, as I say that, the 38 looking back to the inside here as they head down into turns 1 and 2. Just ahead of them is Logan Sturgeon in that 26. But for right now, Mike Browning going to be able to take that position. See if he can move his way a little bit further forward here. To see up just a little bit further ahead of that battle, that's going to be George Jewell in that number 10 position. Daniel Parks directly behind in the 71. Jeremy Gardner leading that trio right there. Jeremy Gardner, the driver we talked about at pre-race that actually won this race at Nashville Superspeedway last season, pretty much exactly where he started at. Started 9th, running 9th right now. So a little surprising that he has not made his way up any further. But directly behind him, Daniel Parks looking to the inside of George Jewell. Battle is on for that final spot in the top 10. Parks looking to the inside, trying to complete this move to get down into turn 1.
And going back to the Jeremy Gardner comment, we saw it last week where he started up at the front of the field, fell back, and just kind of rode his own race until, he really could start pushing. And I would expect to see a nearly similar strategy here tonight. Starting in the middle of the field, play it calm, cool, and collected. You can pick up the draft of a couple trucks in front of you, extend the fuel run a little bit. Fresher tires could be the better call here tonight once we see that pit cycle start to come around. But here we are on lap 13. We are still miles away from seeing that. Gardner, like you mentioned, holding down that 9th spot. Up at the front, it looks like Dravic's getting away a little bit further from Ellingson now.
Yeah, Dravic is starting to pull away, lead up to about a half a second here. As we take a look at our top 4, all nose to tail. Michael Kostick starting to make a little bit of ground on that 24 of Levi McCarty for 3rd place here as well. See, he has cut that gap down to within 0.2 of a second. And, it's interesting because I actually talked to Kostick a little bit before the race, and his exact words to me were, "How do you go fast here?" He did not seem very confident in his speed that he had, but so far so good. Strong running for him, trying to get up into that podium position.
Improvise, adapt, overcome, doing it very well here. Well, we've got it kind of single-filed out here. Let's give a quick shout-out to one of our sponsors, and that'll be SAVE22. SAVE22 is a 501c3 organization dedicated to preventing suicide among veterans, active duty personnel, and first responders. Our unwavering mission extends to 4 critical pillars: that's shield, assist, volunteer, and educate. Save22.vet, you can visit them online. We thank them for all their support here within the Goat Locker community and the community as a whole. There's a little bit of contact now to the wall with Jamie Mullins. We got the 15 of Jamie Barkas right on the back door, looking to take advantage. That SAVE22 truck now looking to hold on to a top 5 spot.
Yeah, Barkas all over the back of the 66 of Jamie Mullins. This the most heated battle really right now that we've got going on, and Jamie Barkas trying to work his way up into the top 5 for the first time this evening. In practice, it looked like Barkas was struggling a little bit, kind of a bit of a surprise. Wasn't up near the top of the speed charts like I kind of expected to see him, but he's made some really good moves here early on. He did start 5th, lost a little bit of ground there early on, but slowly making his way back up through the field here.
That's what it's going to take here to come away with a win tonight, or at least a top 5 position, is going to be consistency. This track can be forgiving. However, you don't want to ask too much of it and start to run a race that might inhibit the ability, as we've got some action further back here. It's the 49 of Craig Bontrager going for P9 around the outside of the 36, George Jewell. Now back to 10th as Jeremy Gardner has worked his way up around Jewell into 8th.
Yeah, and actually, I believe that Bontrager is playing defense here, trying to hold on to that position. George Jewell was running in the 10th spot and starting to heat up a little bit here for that 9th position after Jeremy Gardner got around. So Gardner up another spot, and you can see just a little bit further back, that is Eldon Stewart and Daniel Parks racing side by side here. Eldon Stewart on the move. He is trying to gain another position as he looks to the inside. Looks like he's got more speed right now, but you can see that outside lane, you're just able to roll a little bit more momentum. Parks able to hang on to it for now. They're still going to be side by side heading down into 3 and 4.
The good thing for this condition on the track, it's only 73 degrees on the surface. So that allows these drivers to utilize that outside line a little bit better, a little bit longer, without having to risk the tires nearly as much. But Eldon Stewart does get better of it as we dive back down into turn 1. And he is way ahead now, way clear of the 71, Daniel Parks, but it's side by side behind the 26 of Logan Sturgeon going to battle with the 4 of Mike Browning.
Browning up there on that high lane. Logan Sturgeon trying to wrap that bottom and see if he can complete this pass. Browning carrying a lot of momentum off of turn 4. Going to be difficult to complete this one, as we've seen. It just takes a few laps in a row. You've got to almost make that pass about a foot or two at a time, it seems, with the way that they can carry the momentum up on that top side.
That comes down to that track temperature. I fully believe that being able to hold on to the outside line comes down to just how slippery the track is. It's hard to get it all slick when the temperature is well below that triple-digit mark. Logan Sturgeon doing a great job right now. Mike Browning is very much at risk of losing 2 positions here, as the 38 of Rob Kubat will now look to the inside, trying to follow the tire tracks of Logan Sturgeon, but falls back in behind Mike Browning for now. Just up ahead of them, it's the 7 of Charles Abert looking to attack Daniel Parks now.
Charles Abert trying to take advantage of that 71. Looks like Daniel Parks starting to struggle just a little bit here. He was right up there on the doorstep of the top 10 just a little while ago on the back bumper of the 10th place car. Has since fallen back just a little bit. Charles Abert in his tire tracks right up on the tailgate. Not quite close enough, I don't believe, to make that move just yet, as looks to the outside. Really the first time we've seen somebody try to go to the outside to make a pass, as opposed to playing defense. We got one around right behind it. You called it. That is Mike Browning in the 4 truck, and it looks like he has got some major damage to that machine after that hit to the wall. Cue this up on the instant replay and take a look at what happened to the 4 machine here. We're looking just ahead of it at a battle for position. See, following behind the 26 of Logan Sturgeon here. Oh, Logan gets into the wall, and then Mike trying to stay off of him, checking up a little bit there, and just loses the front end, and into the wall he goes as well.
Shout out to Mike Browning, however, for keeping it up on the wall, not getting any other cars collected in that. We keep it green here at Nashville. Up back here towards the front of the field, Michael Kostick still finds himself in the 4th spot. Can't find a way around Levi McCarty just yet for a podium position. Now we've got the 66 of Jamie Mullins that's hanging on to the tailgate of Kostick. Takes a look to the inside. The opportunity not quite there. Jamie Barkas laying in wait, as you see those shark teeth. They're fierce. You don't want to have the rearview mirror full of those for too long.
You can almost hear that Jaws music playing in the background. Jamie Barkas just kind of lurking right now, letting these guys race each other, maybe burn their stuff up just a little bit. Directly ahead of this battle, you can actually see Jake Ellingson had started to pull in just a little bit on the 07 of Patrick Drabick. Just a moment ago, it was actually down to about a 10th and a half between our top 2. But Patrick doing a really nice job in that 07, just utilizing the lanes, manipulating the air a little bit, able to hang on to it. You can see that 27 of Jake Ellingson also repping another one of our great sponsors that we have here at Goat Locker, and that is Lincoln Tech. Lincoln Tech's mission is to provide superior education and training to our students for in-demand careers in a supportive, accessible learning environment, transforming students' lives and adding value to their communities. They're one of the largest automotive technology schools in the nation with 23 campuses, and they are also the title sponsor of the Spring Series and a very large partner of Goat Locker Racing. Put your potential to work. Lincoln Tech, we appreciate their support here in everything that we do.
As Kostick does get around Levi McCarty, sorry to jump in there, but a solid move to the inside, puts the 3 up into the 3rd spot. McCarty doesn't want to let it go so easily. He's going to battle back to the inside here, diving down into turn 3. This could leave Kostick in a bad position to lose a couple spots if Jamie Mullins and Jamie Barkas can get caught up, form that train around the bottom line. But for now, McCarty does fall back in line behind Kostick.
Yeah, the really nice attempt at the crossover there from the 24 of Levi McCarty. Kostick able to carry that momentum off of turn 4, put the 3 up to third after that move, but directly back behind him, the pressure is not off for Levi McCarty. He's got the pole sitter, Jamie Mullins, hot on his tail, as well as Jamie Barkas, and it looks like there may have been just a little bit of contact with the wall for the 24 there off of turn 4, Logan.
There indeed was some contact. It looked like the rear end started to step out, just barely got the right rear into the wall. Didn't lose much momentum at all, though. Wasn't quite challenged immediately after that, so it could be a netcode issue. Doesn't look like it really did any damage to the right rear of the truck. The 24 still looking extremely clean. However, we'll have to be very careful going forward. If that was the case, the rear end started to step out. That's pretty early in this run, considering how cool the track is.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely something that you don't want to see this early on. Could be a sign that maybe pushed just a little too hard early. But, yeah, did a nice job of keeping it off the wall there. Very minimal contact, but definitely something to be aware of as we get a little bit further into this run. Let's take another quick look at our Dash for Cash drivers. We've talked about this throughout the evening. And actually, of course, it looks like as soon as I say that, Jamie Barkas, one of our Dash for Cash drivers, was taking a look to the inside of Jamie Mullins. Not quite able to make the move stick there. But you can see our 5 eligible drivers right now. Jake Ellingson in that second position is going to be the one that's in the position to win that Dash for Cash as they currently run. Next closest driver out of those is Jamie Barkas there in that 6th position. Taking a look a little bit further back, Jeremy Gardner currently running in 7th. Craig Bontrager, the next one in line, just a couple spots behind him in 9th. Timothy Peters, been a little bit of a struggle for him here this evening. He's currently running back in the 15th position, but definitely not out of this thing. Still quite a ways to go here for this field.
And not even to the halfway point, not even to the point of the pit window being open. That is coming up very shortly here, however, within the next 5 laps. That window is, by technicality, open. Will we see any drivers bring it down? I would say very unlikely, but Charles Aber is working on the inside of Daniel Parks. And that Big Fish Barbecue of Logan Sturgeon right behind now. He is battling with Timothy Peters side by side right behind the 71 of Parks. Parks brings it down to the bottom, opens up the door for the run on the top for Peters, but closes it immediately out of turn 4. Peters will continue to look to the outside as we make our way down to turn 1. Parks trying to find a lane to pick here. He doesn't want to let either one of these drivers by. I would say if he lets one go, it'll be shortly after that the other follows.
Yeah, it looks like the 71 just trying to do damage control here and play a little bit of defense. As we mentioned, he's been struggling a little bit as we get further into this run. Meanwhile, Timothy Peters up there trying to make that top groove work. Again, we haven't really seen people using it to pass, more so for playing defense and hanging on to positions. But Timothy Peters trying to make it work to be able to get that spot.
That 20 trying its hardest around the outside. It gets a great run off of turn 2. Completely clear now, the 71. Peters brings it back down to the bottom, puts some dirty air on the nose of Daniel Parks, and that's going to allow him to make some separation. And let's see if Logan Sturgeon can do the same. A peek to the inside through the tri-oval. On the inside now down into turn 1. Back behind is the 68 of Stephen McDonald. Doing the same maneuver here on the inside of Rob Kubat in the 38 machine.
And Stephen McDonald able to make that pass. Probably he had him clear.
McDonald doing the same maneuver here on the inside of Rob Kubat in the
able to make that. Give a little bit of extra room there to the 38 of Kubat, and wasn't quite able to slide up in front of him, but it's like as they go through 3 and 4 here, Still not quite able to make that move stick. 38 doing a really nice job with carrying the momentum through 3 and 4.
And the battle just ahead of him is still fierce as well. Parks and Sturgeon have not left each other's side. And now, finally, Parks is fully clear, but Sturgeon dives it down to the inside.
Oh, they make contact
with the 71. Pushes him up the track, opens up the door. Sturgeon said, I'm not fighting with you anymore. I'm the bigger fish on the track.
And, you know, I was kind of waiting for a little bit of contact between these two. You know, not that I necessarily see anything wrong with what the 71 was doing, but he was definitely taking some defensive moves there. It's what the 71 was doing, but he was definitely taking some defensive moves there. And at a certain point, you got to say, it's time to go. I can't keep losing time behind this driver. 26 of Logan Sturgeon decided that time was now and made the move, made it stick. Up here up front just a little bit farther, taking a look back inside our top 5. Jamie Mullins back on the back bumper of Levi McCarty, trying to take away that number 4 position. And, you know, Mullins showing a little bit of speed here on the longer runs. And talking about longer runs, you called it earlier, Logan. We saw this out of Jeremy Gardner, last week, where he tried to play that long game. He has caught this lead pack in that 7th position, and he is trying to find a way around Jamie Barkas.
After seeing 2 seasons of the 42's competition, the skill level he has, and taking home a championship within those 2 seasons, you come to learn a thing or two about how some of these drivers go for the strategy, and it's paying off so far. We'll see how he navigates on the pit cycle as that window is now wide open. Contact for Levi McCarty into the wall. That sends Mullins down to the bottom, looking for room side by side as we come across the tri-oval. McCarty might lose 3 positions right here. Mullins completely clear. Barkas on the inside. Jeremy Gardner just laying in wait. He's going to back it up a little bit. Hope that one of these drivers make a mistake. He can capitalize for a 2-for-1 position. Follows around the bottom line behind Jamie Barkas. Up to the top behind McCarty. I don't know. There's going to be an opportunity at some point, and he's going to jump all over it.
Yeah, it looked like there was one point in time that maybe Jeremy Gardner was thinking about 3 wide, but he thought better of it. Barkas on the inside now, still side by side with the 24 of Levi McCarty. Jeremy Gardner now on that bottom line, trying to follow him through. Looks like Barkas should be able to pretty easily clear here off of turn 4. Now put Jeremy Gardner to the inside of that 24 of Levi McCarty. And you had mentioned it, Logan, when McCarty made that contact with the wall, it opened the door to lose 3 positions. And it looks like that is going to end up being the case here for him.
Well, you get the truck unsettled. You've got to find your rhythm again. It's a difficult obstacle to overcome within just a few laps, as Jeremy Gardner now gets the slide job completed up ahead of the 24 as we come around to take lap 47. Nearly halfway through this race, cruising on through it. Speaking of cruising, why not talk about Cruising Classics, located out in Columbus, Ohio. Cruising Classics has a beautiful 56,000 square foot showroom filled with hundreds of unique automobiles. There's something for everybody out there in their hand-picked selection of muscle cars and hot rods. Come on down to visit the facility today and check out their website at cruisingclassicsinc.com.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate the support from Cruising Classics, one of our title sponsors over in that Cup Series that we run on Wednesday night as well. Big supporter here at Goat Locker. But it looks like it is time for green flag pit stops here as well. As you see there on the left-hand side, Levi McCarty going to be the first one of our leaders to come down pit road, try a little bit of an undercut here. And he was kind of in that no man's land anyway, where he was at the back of this lead pack, had a decent gap to the next truck behind, kind of starting to struggle with the grip of that truck a little bit. So I like it. I don't want to call it a roll of the dice, because this is almost splitting it evenly in half between the first and second stint. but being the first one of that lead pack to pit, I like it. I like taking the chance on it. Seems like passing has been not impossible, but definitely difficult here this evening. If you get a little bit of clean air and get out there in front, that might be just what he needs to try to bring home a win this evening.
And electing to not take any damage repair, a 14.2 second stop for McCarty. Right back out onto the track, full fuel, 4 tires. He's going to have a pretty decent advantage here, as we have well over a second and a half of tire fall off. Our best laps of the race tonight at 30.2 seconds respectively from some. A pretty decent advantage here, as we have well over our best lap 0.2 seconds. Right now, seeing lap times anywhere from 31.7 to 32 flat. So we are a wide open window now, as a lot more of this field is going to come down. Patrick Drabick, Jacob Ellingson, Jamie Barkas, George Jewell, Charles Abert, Craig Bontrager has been in and out already. Michael Kostick inherits the lead, and it looks like we've got a black flag for one of our drivers out here. It's the 15 of Jamie Barkas, speeding on pit road entry. That will end up being, I believe, a 40 or 45 second hold in the pit box after service is completed. So that is going to be detrimental here for the Barkas 15, as he will certainly go 1, possibly 2 laps down.
Yeah, definitely a tough break for Jamie Barkas, one of our Dash for Cash drivers as well. So that's going to take one of our Dash for Cash drivers out of contention. See, Michael Kostick yet to pit. Timothy Peters has yet to pit. It's like Eldon Stewart is actually hitting pit road now. A little bit farther back, you've got Rob Kubat and Stephen McDonald, along with Brandon Wallace, that have yet to pit. But as you take a look over there, starting with those cars that are 1 lap down, Levi McCarty has, in fact, jumped Patrick Drabick and Jake Ellingson on track for position. So once these pit cycles work their way through and complete, that'll essentially make the 24 of McCarty the de facto leader here, as long as he's able to hold that track position over Drabick and Ellingson.
So a great call coming from the 24 team. Damage not necessary. So we still have our top 4 drivers on the track. Timothy Peters, Rob Kubat have brought it down to pit road. Peters hits his box. Keep an eye on that 20. Rob Kubat hits the box. And it'll be respectively a 14.7 for Peters, a 14.3 second stop for Kubat.
And it looks like this time around, I believe our leader, Michael Kostick, is bringing it down pit road as well. So that is going to allow a couple of these drivers to go ahead and get their laps back. As you could see, that was Levi McCarty that went by, along with Patrick Drabick, Jake Ellingson. Regis Clark will be the 4th place driver once all of these pit stops shake out here. That's going to hand the lead over to the 71 of Daniel Parks. Running long, hoping maybe he can catch a caution, trap some guys a lap down, or at the very least have track position or fresher tires. So little roll of the dice here for the 71 as we get a little bit farther into this race.
That window is going to be coming to a close. 62 laps should be the maximum with the draft at hand. So it'll be just a short moment of time. I'd say Daniel Parks looking to pick up a bonus point for a lap led, as those points will come in handy as we get to the playoffs. We're still very early, but the more that you can get, the earlier that you can get them, the better off you are once we get into the round of 12, the round of 8. Right now, Parks holding down the lead. Brandon Wallace about 3.3 seconds back, and looks like Daniel Parks now will bring it down pit road. Couldn't quite make it to the 60 mark. Brandon Wallace will inherit the lead now.
Yeah, put the 99 at the top of the leaderboard. Strategy that we've seen out of Brandon Wallace pretty frequently here in Goat Locker Racing, being one of, if not the last one to pit. And this evening, he is going to be the last one to make his scheduled green flag stop. But you can already see just how much time it's costing, as Levi McCarty now under 11 seconds behind the 99 of Brandon Wallace. If he doesn't catch a caution, it's essentially going to render the 99 a lap down here. And you could even see just how quickly that gap was shrinking as they went around the track. So yeah, definitely a Hail Mary move here out of the 99. But a little bit further back behind that, behind the 24, Patrick Drabick and Jake Ellingson right in each other's tire tracks for what will end up being the number 2 position. Levi McCarty about a second or so, second and a half or so ahead of that battle.
Yeah, 1.6 seconds separate McCarty and Drabick. Ellingson right in the draft window, or draft bubble rather, at 0.3 seconds. We got one down in the grass. It's the 71 of Daniel Parks. What has happened to him out of turn number 4?
I didn't quite catch what happened to him there initially. Take a look on the instant replay. It just really loose off of turn 4. Did a really nice job of saving that, to be honest, and didn't hit anything, was able to avoid the other trucks around him. You got to think that's just a product of coming out on cold tires after everything that happened there, but with the pit cycle. But we also do have another black flag out there for our drivers. Brandon Wallace, who has just pitted from the lead, speeding on pit road. So the Hail Mary strategy didn't play out in his favor, and then throw the penalty on top of that.
Yeah, that will be another 40-second hold. We saw Jamie Barkas serve that earlier. Now it's time for the 99. Levi McCarty right back to the lead. Drabick 1.3 seconds behind. Regis Clark up to the 4th position, and that number 8 started 8th, up 4. Jeremy Gardner started 9th, up 4 as well, into the top 5 for the 42. Let's see what he has for the back half of this race. I would expect to see the 42 turn up the heat a little bit here.
Yeah, and you mentioned Regis Clark up to that number 4 position. He was one of the first ones that came down pit road. He actually pitted just, I believe, a lap or 2 after Levi McCarty did. So, yeah, he actually pitted 1 lap after Levi McCarty. So the undercut worked to get him some track position. See if he can hold on to it here. As you see Jeremy Gardner on the inside on those fresher tires compared to what the 8 has. He's actually going to be able to take that number 4 position. Now that he's got some clean racetrack in front of him, see if that 42 of Gardner can start stringing some laps together to try to chase down these top 3 drivers. As it stands right now, he is the 2nd of our 5 Dash for Cash drivers. Jake Ellingson still the highest running, so definitely a little bit extra incentive there for that 42 to get up and try to catch Ellingson.
And the 49 of Craig Bontrager not far behind at all, still holding down that 7th position. So if something was to happen to Ellingson and or Gardner, then he's in a great position right where he is at. As we see this battle with Mullins and Clark. Mullins gets to the inside, makes up some good ground, but Clark does get a run off of turn number 4 across the tri-oval, still side by side down into turn 1. But on these fresh tires, I want to be on that inside line all day. It works out for Jamie Mullins right ahead into P5. The 66 trying to make way back up to the front.
And it looked like there may have been just a little touch with the wall there with one of our drivers. Saw the touch of, or the puff of smoke rather, on the back straightaway off of turn number 2. But for now, go ahead and put Mullins up into that 5th position. Regis Clark back to 6th. And starting to see just the differences with those tires as we had kind of talked about. These guys that have the fresher tires that came in a little bit later showing some speed here through the end of this run. And up near the front, we're able to see that as well. Patrick Drabick in 2nd has cut the lead under half a second to that 24 of Levi McCarty. So starting to put a little bit of pressure on here is that 07 of Drabick. He actually does have one of our driver cams here this evening, something that a few of our guys do. Take a look at Patrick Drabick here as he tries to chase down the leader. Like those gloves that he's got on there, those patriotic red, white, and blue. It's a nice little touch for the boss man over here at Goat Locker.
That it is. And doing a great job representing. We'll see if he can hold on to a podium position as he's gone from 1.3 seconds behind Levi McCarty now to within 0.3. Jeremy Gardner still behind by about 3.7 seconds at the moment, but now that this battle is coming to fruition up here at the front, Levi McCarty isn't going to just lay over and let Drabick or Ellingson by, so expect to see these three battle it out. The pace will slow down at the front. This is when Jeremy Gardner will be able to take advantage and enter his name into the hat for the battle.
Yeah, we've got a pretty good battle shaping up here. Patrick Drabick has now cut it down to 0.2 of a second, putting those fresher tires to work, as you can see just how much ground he makes up there in the middle of the turn. Drabick now right on the back bumper of that 24 car, or 24 truck rather, as they head back into turns 1 and 2. It's going to be difficult to complete the pass with where he is faster. And we saw it earlier. Levi McCarty was really good at taking that top groove, carrying a lot of momentum and playing defense with it. So the 07, Patrick Drabick, he's got his work cut out here for him.
I like that the 07 is entering into the corner a little bit higher. It's kind of setting up for the crossover maneuver, but it's purely for that clean air on the entry. Just way the way the truck arcs down through the corner brings Patrick Drabick out just a lane lower. I can't tell if it's quite hurting the run off the corner, but he gets a good run out of turn 2 and really sends it down into turn 3. It's door to door here now with the 24. McCarty way up on the track, gets into the wall, nearly comes down into Patrick Drabick. Looking to settle in between Drabick and Parks. Parks now to the inside of McCarty, trying to get back to the lead lap. But he's got Patrick Drabick to get through now as he's going to separate this battle. That could be one of those things that might upset Levi McCarty here. He'll charge back around the outside, trying to keep up with the 07, but this battle with the lap traffic just hurting. Into the wall again, crosses over in front of Jake Ellingson.
Yeah, that was a pretty hard hit to the wall for the 24 of McCarty. We've seen him kind of flirting with that wall throughout the evening, but that was a little bit more than just a flirt with the wall right there. Going to allow the 27 of Ellingson to the inside. You mentioned it, Daniel Parks up there trying to get his lap back the old-fashioned way after the issue that he had earlier. But back behind that, Jake Ellingson able to clear Levi McCarty in the 24 for that second position. So that's now going to put a driver in between our top two running Dash for Cash candidates, between Ellingson and Gardner.
It's looking good for Jacob Ellingson here. That 27 Lincoln Tech truck making that line look pretty easy, as now he still has a great opportunity to catch up with Drabick, as Daniel Parks has gotten back around the 07, back to the lead lap, running in the 18th spot. But if we get this field stacked back up, Daniel Parks has a really fast truck right now.
Yeah, definitely showing some speed here. So it's good to be able to get that lap back, get, to where if a caution does come out, you don't have to worry about the free pass, might be able to gain a couple of spots on pit road. You don't have to start behind any lap trucks. So big move there from the 71 to be able to get back on the lead lap. You got to wonder if maybe that dirty air from Daniel Parks may just upset that 07 truck's balance a little bit with Patrick Drabick, because Jacob Ellingson is starting to reel in the leader. You can see there, gap to about 0.3 of a second. Last lap by, he was actually a full 1/10 of a second faster. Say another driver to keep an eye on here too is that 3 of Michael Kostick. He was the last one to pit. He was the fastest truck on track out of our top 10 that last time by, as you can see there, by a good 0.2 of a second. So still not out of it for a lot of these guys.
Leave Ellingson, another driver with a camera on the night. We could hang out, maybe hop on board with the 27, see what it looks like from the driver's POV. And from the inside the car, see what it's looking like around a lap here at Nashville Super Speedway as we're coming around through turns 3 and 4, separated by about 0.25 seconds here. Right in that draft bubble is exactly where you want to be as we are coming up on lap 80, just moments away. It's looking pretty good down there on the bottom of the racetrack. Daniel, what do you say?
Yeah, Jake Ellingson holding a really steady wheel. You can see just not really over driving it, kind of keeping himself clean right now. Not quite time to try to push and get up there. Still got a little over 20 laps to go in this race, and definitely close enough that if Patrick Drabick makes any kind of mistake, any kind of bobble, he can jump up there and try to take advantage of it.
I like this pace that these two have up here right now, turning lap times of 31.39, 31.47. But Ellingson staying close enough where that difference between first and second doesn't really exceed much past 0.3 of a second, but it's close enough that he's getting the draft, but not quite challenging, not burning up his tires just yet. And we're going to have a little bit more lap traffic ahead that this could play into favor for Jacob Ellingson.
Yeah, could definitely pay dividends to him. You know, it's usually a little bit harder for that leader to get around the lap trucks as they catch them. Tend to race them just a little bit harder, trying to stay on the lead lap. But a little bit further back here, the battle for 5th is actually starting to heat up between Jamie Mullins and Michael Kostick. Kostick all over the back bumper of that 66 truck. It's like he's going to try to carry a little bit of momentum, takes a little bit wider line through 1 and 2, see if he can get a run down the back straightaway here. So it looks like Jeremy Gardner may have actually kissed the wall directly in front of them.
Speaking of Gardner, he started this run with a 3.5 second disadvantage. Now he is within 1.5 seconds of Levi McCarty for a podium position. Right behind, Jamie Mullins charges around the outside, but Michael Kostick gets the better run down into turn 1. And this battle is fierce for the top 5 spot. Going on right in the rear view. You have to be happy if you're the 42 driver seeing this going on behind. You know you're safe for a little while as these drivers are going to duke it out here lap after lap. Nashville Super Speedway, we've seen it time and time again. It's not a one-lap pass typically. You are battling for several laps before it gets settled. As Jamie Mullins will slide in behind Michael Kostick. We'll see if there's a move down into turn 3. But it looks like that gap being extended now by Kostick. A great run out of turn 2 will keep him safe for the moment.
Yeah, Kostick with 4 lap fresher tires than both Gardner and Mullins. Even more of an advantage to those ahead of them. Back a little bit further, we got a good battle going on for 9th here between Eldon Stewart and George Jewell. Eldon Stewart in that 9th position trying to hang on to this position. Jewell in the 36 trying to take it away. Eldon Stewart actually has 2 lap fresher tires than George Jewell right now. So pretty good speed out of the 36 considering that tire offset.
And I know we have some George Jewell fans in the chat, so let's go ahead and bring up Jewell's driver cam as well. I'm sure they'd like to see his face on the big screen. There he is. As there's contact with the wall ahead of these two drivers. That would be, I believe, the 8 of Regis Clark. Eldon Stewart, George Jewell battling out here in the back half of the top 10. 36 has good positioning here. It's just going to be a matter of getting a good run off of corner exit, challenging down into the opposite end of the track. I think that's going to be what makes the decision of who's going to come out 9th here tonight. as we are just 15 laps away from finding out how this one settles out.
Yeah, really good battle for position here. George Jewell still trying to take a look to the inside, but just not quite close enough to be able to make anything happen as of yet. So as you can see, just a little contact with the wall there. Something we've been seeing pretty much all throughout the evening. It's that little puff of smoke on corner exit, just some ever so slight contact with the wall. But looking back up there in our top 5, battle's starting to close up for that 3rd position just a little bit here as well, as Jeremy Gardner now within about 3.5 tenths of Levi McCarty. See Michael Kostick starting to close in on this battle as well. McCarty with those older tires from that undercut got him the track position, but as we see so often here in Goat Locker, Jeremy Gardner with really good long run speed starting to chase him down.
I'm noticing that McCarty taking a higher entry, more of an arcing corner down into 3 and 4, even here into 1 and 2, about a half lane to a lane higher than Gardner's entry. Gardner taking the shallow entry with a lot more speed, it seems, not letting off the throttle as early as he takes a look to the inside. McCarty thought about shutting the door, but Gardner was already there. And it's going to be side by side across the front stretch here for P3. Gardner gets the advantage down into turn 1. He should be clear on corner exit, but keep an eye on the 25 lap traffic of James Kaufman. Both of these drivers will have to get around safely here. Still set up for the outside move. Kaufman stays on the outside. Gardner makes that recognition early, dives it down to the bottom. And McCarty now will have to settle in for P4, but don't look now. Michael Kostick right there behind as well. Levi in a position where he could fall outside of the top 10 if Jamie Mullins can catch up. Or top 5, rather.
Yeah, and good job by James Kaufman there, yielding the bottom to our lead lap drivers, giving them the preferred lane as they tried to settle out that position. Jeremy Gardner now with a little bit of free racetrack, going to try to chase down these 2 drivers as Patrick Dravick continues to lead, but Jake Ellingson still right there behind him, still just keeping ever so close, putting just a little bit of pressure on the 07 to Patrick Dravick. I can tell you one driver that really wants to see them start racing is going to be that 3rd place driver of Jeremy Gardner. He sees them up there, just don't know if he quite has the time unless they start running side by side.
And the side-by-side battle likely won't happen until that white flag waves, as these 2 are 1 and 2 positions, are teammates. So you don't want to challenge your teammate and put yourself in a spot where you could throw away a win and give it to the 3rd place guy that's starting this charge up from a 2.5 seconds back. That's not how you want to end the race by any means. But we're going to find out here shortly, as we are within 10 to go. Might as well give another shout out to one of our fantastic sponsors here. And we've seen some gloves on the broadcast, and let's talk about Glove Station then. At Glove Station, we are committed to providing quality gloves and protective gear for a wide range of your daily activities and jobs. From tinkering on home DIYs to working in industrial environments and everything in between, we've got you covered. With endless amounts of safety products on the market, they want to make it effortless for you to find the right protection for your needs. You can go visit them at glovestation.com. You'll see a couple of these drivers will actually be wearing some Glove Station products during the broadcast. We'll try to take note of that for next week when we get some of the driver cams up and show some highlights of what some of them might look like.
Show some of those awesome products that they have from one of our league sponsors. And speaking of which, there was another one. It's MK Fire Designs, who recently came on board as one of our sponsors. They are the sponsor of our Saturday night GT3 series, able to get that broadcasted now thanks to their support. If you haven't taken a look at what they've got, go check them out on Facebook. I actually saw them post something the other day. It's a Goat Locker item that they made. Really cool woodworking design that they've got. So give them a shout out and take a look at them as well.
I have to say, seeing that artwork in person as well, it is incredible quality. And actually at the Sim Racing Expo was the item I wanted to purchase the most. I just, I couldn't. So if that says anything, that attests to the quality of that product. There it is. But take a look at this third place driver, Jeremy Gardner. I kind of wrote him out of this whenever he was 1.3 seconds back. These two drivers ahead of him not in a position to battle. But here we are, 5 to go. And now within a half second here of Jacob Ellingson, within 7/10 of a race win right now.
Yeah, Jeremy Gardner has been putting together some really impressive lap times. Previous lap, he was about 0.2 faster than the drivers in front, only about a 0.5 faster that time around as he starts to get in a little bit of that dirty air from the 27 of Jake Ellingson, but still close enough to try to mount a charge here with just under 4 laps to go. They'll be taking 3 to go this time by. Ellingson still just about 0.3 or so back of Patrick Drabick, and there is a little bit of lap traffic that they're starting to close in on here.
And Gardner has turned the last 5 to 10 laps under pretty well clean air conditions. Now starting to get closer to the back end of the 27. Will have that dirty air to battle with. As up in front now, Patrick Drabick all over that back bumper here. I believe that is of Chuck Feltz as he will yield to the top lane, letting Drabick, Ellingson, and Gardner go by on the bottom. It's going to be untimely for Gardner. He might have had to lift a little bit there before sliding up in front of the 75. There it is, your battle for position on the bottom right of your screen. The splits between these trucks. It gets closer, it falls off. But here we are, 2 to go out of turn 2. It's coming down to the wire for the race win.
And even still, that last lap by Jeremy Gardner, the fastest of our top 3, not out of it yet. We're getting ready to come to 1 to go. Battle for the win. Battle for the dash to cash. Or dash for cash. Oh, it's Gardner big into the wall off of turn 4. White flag is in the air for Patrick Drabick as he takes the white flag in the lead.
And all bets are off now. If Jacob Ellingson has anything left in the tank, this is the time to empty it. You can go for broke or you can settle for P2, but the race win is what matters the most. Down into turn 3, still with about a car length advantage. It's looking like Patrick Drabick has this one sealed up. Out of turn 4, clean off the wall, down to the bottom of the tri-oval, and the race win goes to the Jam Printing and Promotions 07 of Patrick Drabick.
Just a really dominating performance tonight out of Patrick Drabick. As you can see there, started second, took the lead early, led 79 of the 100 laps here. Kind of echoing what Mark Whitley did last week at Charlotte, just taking these boys to the woodshed. Put another win in the column for the boss man.
Jacob Ellingson taking home P2. Jeremy Gardner just not quite enough race left to catch up, but rounds out the podium. Patrick Drabick back to that checkered line. He'll burn it down here at Nashville Super Speedway. But for now, we'll send it to a quick commercial break. We'll get set up for the post-race show. We'll be right back with interviews with our top 3. Stick around.
Superior quality, ultimate protection, and the highest level of craftsmanship. We make our gloves for the hard worker that wakes up every morning and gives 110%. You deserve the highest quality protective gear that's going to work for you, day in, day out. We know it can be tough deciding what companies to trust for your hard-earned money. It's all in our name. We've mastered our craft to help you master yours. We make our gloves rugged, durable, and designed for you. Whatever the job is, we have you covered. We are your glove station.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. InVets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. InVets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about InVets, visit us at invets.org today.
And back here live from Nashville, Tennessee, or Lebanon, really. Tennessee, all the same, for the Goat Locker Racing SAVE22 Truck Series. We saw it live, but let's take a quick look at our race results, and then we'll get right into our interviews with our top three. Patrick Drabick takes the Jam Printing and Promotions truck from P2 up one spot and takes home a race win here in Nashville. Jake Ellingson able to round out a top two finish here for the 27 machine and our Dash for Cash winner on the night. Congratulations, 27. The 42 of Jeremy Garner rounds out our top three. Levi McCarty was able to hold off Caustic, takes home P4 on the night. The 3 machine of Caustic rounds out our top five. The 66 of Jamie Mullins got the pole, ends up falling back to 6 at the end of this one. Still an outstanding race here tonight. Craig Bontrager started in 7th, holds down 7th for pretty well the entire race. The 49 right there in P7. Regis Clark in the 8 machine does the same exact thing, finishes P8 after starting P8. Eldon Stewart moves up a couple positions into P9 from P13, and George Jewell in the 36 rounds out our top 10.
Finishing just outside the top 10, Timothy Peters, another one of our Dash for Cash drivers, comes home in 11th. Charles Abert finishes in 12th this evening. Logan Sturgeon comes home in 13th. Rob Kubat in 14th. Stephen McDonald in 15th. Daniel Parks, decent recovery after that slide that he had, getting back on the lead lap there, comes home in 16th. Chuck Pegleg Feltz finishes in 17th. James Kaufman at 18th, Jamie Barkis 19th, one of our Dash for Cash drivers that had that speeding penalty earlier. Brandon Wallace, another driver that had a speeding penalty. He's going to come home in the 20th position. Last two on the grid this evening. Warren Clayton finishing in 21st, and Mike Browning, with that damage from the wall contact he had earlier, comes home in 22nd.
22 cars start the race. 22 trucks finish it. What a great race we had here tonight, this fine Friday night. Let's get right to business and talk with our race winner. That's going to be the 07 of Patrick Drabick. Patrick, you've got Logan and Daniel up here in the VSPEED booth. You got a copy, driver?
I do. I don't even know why you just said driver after you said my name.
Well, you are a driver indeed, and you showed the ability here tonight. Was 79 laps led out of 100. That's incredible numbers. What was the key to success here tonight? Was it the clean air? Was it strategy? Walk me through some of the race. What led you to make some of the decisions you did tonight?
Yeah, I think clean air does have a lot to do with it. Even in that lap traffic that I got to, you could start to feel the truck handle a little bit differently. But I really just tried to take it easy on the truck. Through the beginning parts of the run, I tried to keep the gap to Jake, about the same. And I kept looking back where McCarty was, where Kostick was. All those guys really had a great run tonight, and just tried to maintain that gap. And if I saw them get a little bit closer, I would just push the truck a little bit more, because you really got to save some tire here. And but yeah, an incredible night for sure, man. It feels good to park it in victory lane.
Well, boss man here, Logan mentioned that, numbers, 79 laps led. I've got a different number for you here.
Oh boy.
This is actually a good number. I think you'll like this one.
Okay.
So since the Friday Night Truck Series went to being a Premier Series and it's kicked off, that's your 8th career win in this Premier Series. And the reason I bring that up is because it actually breaks a tie that you had for the most wins in this series with Jake Ham. How does it feel to be the current all-time wins leader in the Friday Night Truck Series?
That's awesome, man. I mean, it's this is where you want to be in Goat Locker Racing. You want to be here on Friday nights in our truck series, winning races. I mean, there's nothing better than that. And I can't say enough about the caliber of guys that come out each and every week. I mean, that's 2 weeks in a row without a single caution on some tracks that aren't that easy to drive. And so there's a lot of factors that come into that. And these guys, I mean, they continue to put on great racing each and every week. When you're coming up on lap trucks, they know you're coming and they kind of move out of the way. I mean, just an incredible group of guys to race with week in and week out. But that's a cool stat, man. I had no idea. But that's pretty awesome to get win number 8. And I guess, be leading this whole thing is the most wins in the Truck Premier Series. Cool.
Well, numbers and statistics, Daniel loves them. And it was you put on quite the show out here. There was very little opportunity for competition with the 07 on the night, starting on the front row. But here we go. Patrick Drabick, you are no stranger to it. I know you've got your list handy. Who do you have to say thanks to for your race win here at Nashville?
Yeah, huge shout out to Lincoln Tech. We've got the car show coming up here in about 3 weeks. Can't wait for that to actually happen, to get together there at the Indianapolis campus, take our sim rig out there, get our stock car out there. We're going to have our late model stock car out there. So if you hang out after the car show, I'm going to be ripping some burnouts in the parking lot. Mark my words on that one. SAVE22, the awesome sponsor they are, and coming on board and not only helping us here with the truck series, but with Goat Talk, but more importantly, the work that they're doing for our nation's warriors and first responders. What an incredible organization. John Moser and Albert over there are great friends of mine, and they are just incredible people that continue to do incredible work. And then, I got my Indiana hat on for the Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs, and, the grant that they give us to continue to do our mission. And just, thanks to you guys. You guys call incredible races. I get up in the booth every now and again. I get lucky and I get to get up in this booth and talk to you guys. But what an incredible job all 3 of you do, and everybody that's in the broadcast booth each and every week. So big thanks to you, Dan, Logan, and Lucas, for putting on just an incredible broadcast here on Friday nights, man. It's awesome. And then got to thank my teammates. Jake was phenomenal tonight. I'm so happy for him. He's the Dash for Cash winner. He, grabs another podium. And Jamie had a little bit rough of a night, but it's always awesome to be out here racing with my teammates, man.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations again on race win number 8 here in the Premier Truck Series. You can get to celebrating with your teammates right after we get talking to one of them. But Patrick Drabick, congratulations again. We will see you next week.
All right, brother. Thank you.
That leads us right to P2, the 27 of Jacob Ellingson, the Lincoln Tech truck itself. Jacob, you got Logan and Daniel up here in the VSPEED booth. You got a copy?
How's it going, Betty?
It's going great, and I'm sure you're quite happy with this P2 finish. You started out in 3rd, so you stayed up at the front of the field pretty well the entire time. How was that playing into your strategy? Was it a stick with Pat type of thing? You wanted to bring it down as teammates, or you talked with him about the clean air and how important that was. We didn't ever quite see you in that same position. So how did you attack this race differently?
Just trying to have a little bit of tire management. It fell off a lot more than I thought it would in the second half of the race because Jeremy was coming, and but yeah, just tire management.
Well, really strong race tonight, finishing in P2, and you come home with the Dash for Cash prize. So I got to ask, you got that $60 now from winning the Dash for Cash. What's your plans with it? You going to go out and buy a couple of cases of Red Bull, or you got something else in mind with it?
It's going to go right back into GLR. I've always supported what we do here, even when we were just a little old bitty league running just the truck series on Friday nights. I've always supported us, and anything that GLR tries to give me monetarily, it goes right back into GLR. So that's where it's going to go, and that's where it's going to stay.
I feel like that sentiment would be pretty well shared throughout the field for the most part. But again, congratulations. A great job finishing out here in P2. A solid team effort for Goat Locker Racing. Who do you have to say thanks to for taking home 2 of the podium spots with your teammate?
Oh, I definitely got number one. First and foremost, got to thank the Lincoln Tech for putting their name on this number 27. Glad to get them a second podium finish 2 weeks in a row. So that's always a blast. Then I SAVE22 in Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs, Jampering of Promotions, VSPEED, Alexander PCs, iRacing, MK Fire Design, Sim Motion. And then last but not least, I definitely cannot thank my beautiful wife and my wonderful daughters for allowing me to come out and have fun with you guys.
Absolutely. Love being here on these Friday nights. Jacob Ellingson, P2 finisher. We will see you next week at Kansas. That'll lead us right to P3, another name that we are very familiar with up here in the VSPEED booth. We've seen him take home a championship in this series. Our P3 finisher, Jeremy Gardner. Jeremy, you got a copy?
I got you, Logan.
Well, brother, fantastic race. You started out in 9th. We saw you kind of hold on to the reins there for the first half of the race. Didn't really see this 42 go on attack until the second half. And you managed to overcome I believe it was up to a 3.5 second difference between yourself and Levi McCarty for that third place spot. It seemed to dissipate just so quickly. Where did you find all the speed on the track tonight? Jeremy Gardner. It appears we've lost contact with our P3 finisher. Give him a few more seconds here. See if he can get things lined out. Well, it does not appear that... Yeah, we've got you now, Jeremy.
All right.
Did you hear the question at all, or do we need to restate it?
No, I got you. I was, Astros. I mean, I found my time. I mean, I don't know. Nashville's always been a weird track to me. It's hit or miss. Tire saving works here. At the same time, it don't. It comes in super, super late. I mean, you can honestly start gaining on the leader about, I don't know, lap 35, lap 40, which is super late in the run. But it's kind of like I was trying to tell my guys tonight. I was like, just lay back a couple tenths. Just run your race, let everybody go. But I don't know. There towards the end, I was kind of hoping to get back towards the front and catch Jake and Pat. But I mean, it just wasn't going to work. I think I started pushing, honestly, a little bit too late. But I mean, that was a hell of a race, man. No cautions tonight. Dude, that was outstanding.
Well, still a really solid run for you. And, at one point, I didn't even think you were going to get as close as you did. And you proved me wrong with being able to get up there and at least put some pressure on those guys for the top 2. Do you think maybe, like, if you had it to do all over again, do you think maybe an undercut would have been the better way to go to try to get that track position? Or do you feel like the fresher tires was still the better way to go on the long run?
I mean, I don't know. I don't think, not really. like I said, this track on the long run, it kind of sucks, man. I mean, you catch them late in the long run. So I knew as soon as Pat and Jake pitted, I was like, I got to pit the next lap. So, I mean, I had my advantage right there. I was starting to catch them towards the end, but I mean, like I said, I didn't push, soon enough, but I wish I kind of would have pushed a little bit sooner. I mean, it kind of would have been a little bit harder to get by them, but hell, I was going to give them hell there at the end. That's for sure.
I think he came extremely close. I think finishing within about 0.3 for P2. So a great, not quite a comeback story, but just a great run overall. Jeremy Gardner, congratulations on P3. Who do you have to say thanks to for your race here at Nashville?
Pat and Jamie, always. Congratulations to Pat tonight. It's hard to, say because me and Pat don't get along. No, I'm just kidding. I love that guy. iRacing, MK Fire Design, SimMotion, SAVE22. Appreciate them guys. They're on my next gen car. Putting on the series. I mean, I appreciate everything they do for everything in Goat Locker. Of course, y'all guys putting on a hell of a broadcast tonight. I can't wait to go back and watch it. And my guys at Premier Racing Setups. And of course, all my teammates over at SAVE22. Man, we've all had a hell of a year between the trucks, next gens, and everything. I think the teamwork is absolutely outstanding this year. So can't wait to continue.
Absolutely. As we see you in that points hunt, we'll continue to see you up there in that battle. As you got some opportunity to prove that first championship might not have been a fluke. So we'll see you next week at Kansas. Jeremy Gardner, congratulations, P3.
Yes, sir. See y'all next week.
Well, Daniel, that wraps things up for the show here at Nashville. What a great race we had. Green flag to checkered. What do you think we're going to see next week when we take the show to Kansas?
Yeah, next week heading to one of my personal favorite racetracks on all of iRacing, Kansas Speedway. I think it's one of my favorites because it's one of the only ones I'm actually good at. So that definitely helps out a lot, but it's a really fun racetrack. You've got the multi-groove with the progressive banking. The line tends to move up, but it seems like it's just gotten even racier with the way that the dynamic track works now since iRacing has done some updates there. So definitely going to be a good race. We will be there next week for week number 4, same time, same channel here on VSPEED.
That we will. That'll wrap things up for tonight. For Patrick Drabick and Jamie Barkas, everybody else behind the scenes at Goat Locker Racing. For everybody behind the scenes at VSPEED, Adam Baker, Bradley Cooper, Morgan Cook, Eddie Smith. Of course, our producer tonight, Lucas Lyons, my colleague in the booth, Daniel Cunningham. And of course, cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Another shout out to Jamie Libke taking up that role of race control tonight. My name's Logan Threlkeld. It's been a pleasure. We will see you next week in Kansas for week number 4. Good night, everybody.